Greetings, everyone. This is Saloni, Assistant Professor, IIMT College of Law. Today, I am going to speak on the topic implementation of human rights under international law. This topic has been a very integral part of the law, and we have observed that with the passage of time and strengthening of institutions, a number of observations have been made about the failure of various conventions and incapacity of redressal forums in protecting human rights. Basically, we have seen that there are numerous international conventions which talk about the protection of human rights and social justice. But when it comes to the reality, they have failed to provide safety, security, equality, zero discrimination amongst people. Hence, in this PPT, we will discuss few conventions such as Universal Declaration of Human Rights, 1948, International Convention on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, 1966, International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, 1966, and the challenges faced in their implementation. This PPT further highlights some sui generis conventions relating to women, children, disabled persons, migrant workers, torture, and community differences, such as International Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Racial Discrimination, 1965, Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, 1978. Coming to the introductory part, we all know that human rights are essential for the well-being and dignity of every individual. They are commonly understood as basic rights to which every person is entitled, regardless of their nationality, race, religion, gender, or any other characteristics. Human rights include, but are not only limited to the right to life, liberty, and security of a person, freedom of speech and expression, and the right to equality before the law. Unfortunately, human rights violations continue to occur, jeopardizing the fundamental principles upon which every society should be built. Violations of human rights can take form ranging from physical abuse to discrimination and denial of basic freedoms. These violations occur in various contexts, such as during armed conflicts, in oppressive regimes, and within societies that marginalize certain groups. The victims of such violations often face significant challenges in seeking justice and equality. So there are numerous thematic areas or major arenas where there is a violation of human rights under international conventions. And I will discuss all the thematic areas one by one. Number one is torture and unlawful detention. Torture and unlawful detention are severe violations of human rights that have long been condemned by the international community. These heinous crimes not only harm individuals physically and mentally, but also undermine the principles of justice and dignity. Tragically, in many parts of the world, individual continues to suffer from torture and unlawful detention, perpetuated by oppressive regimes or as a result of ongoing conflicts. These aberrant practices not only inflict physical and psychological pain on victims, but also undermine the principles of justice and dignity. And if we see the protection against torture and unlawful detention, we will see that there are multiple sections or articles under various international conventions or covenants. Article 5 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and Article 7 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, we have seen that all these provisions talk about the protection of torture and unlawful detention. However, social institutions and governing bodies continue to fail in their efforts when it comes to protection of rights of humans against torture and unlawful detention. In the recent years, we have witnessed how draconian laws such as Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, in short we call it UAPA, have encroached upon the rights of those accused by denial of bail. For the accused detained under UAPA, jail is the rule and bail is the exception. That is the violation, that is a clear-cut violation of natural law and justice. It is imperative that we continue to address these grave concerns and work towards a world where torture and unlawful activities are not allowed. Number two is the gender-related discrimination. These violations of human rights is a pressing issue that continues to persist in many parts of the world. It encompasses various forms of discrimination and abuse, including gender-based violence, limited access to education and healthcare, and unequal opportunities in the workplace. These violations not only affect individual women, but also hinder societal progress and development. Protection on the elimination of all forms of discrimination against women, CEDAW is a landmark treaty that calls for the elimination of discrimination against women in all areas of life. Similarly, the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action establishes that the rights of the women must be protected and they must be secured a decent life with dignity. There are, however, loopholes in conventions of women that need to be addressed. These loopholes often allow for discrimination and violation of women's right to persist. Loopholes in the conventions for women can undermine the progress made towards gender equality and protection of women's rights. For example, while CEDAW calls for the elimination of discrimination against women, there are still many countries that have not fully implemented its provision or have reservations that limit its scope. Additionally, the enforcement of these conventions can be challenging as there may be a lack of resources, political will, or coordination among different stakeholders. By closing these loopholes through robust implementation and enforcement, we can ensure that rights of the women are protected. Number third is the endangered democracy. Democracy holds a significant place in the framework of human rights. It serves as a foundation for upholding and protecting the rights and interests of all individuals, including women. By ensuring that democratic principles are adhered to and respected, societies can create an environment that promotes equality, freedom, and justice. Throughout history, there have been numerous instances where violation of democracy has resulted in the direct infringement of human rights. There have been a threat to the welfare and dignity of individuals. Violations of democracy as human rights can have far-reaching consequences on the stability and integrity of a nation. When democratic principles are disregarded, individuals are deprived of their fundamental rights and freedoms, leading to a breakdown of societal trust and inclusivity. Moreover, the erosion of the democratic institutions can provide fertile ground for the authoritarianism to take hold, jeopardizing the values of equality, justice, and accountability in order to safeguard against such threats. It is crucial for democratic nations to remain vigilant in upholding the principles that undermine their system of governance. It is crucial for democratic nations to address these issues head on and implement robust measures to protect and preserve the integrity of democratic systems. Number four is refugees, asylum seekers, and migrants. The violation of human rights is a pressing issue that affects many individuals around the world, particularly among refugees and asylum seekers. These vulnerable populations are often subjected to various forms of abuse, discrimination, exploitation. These denial of basic necessities to physical and psychological harm, the violation of these rights is a stark reality that must be addressed. As we dwell deeper into this topic, it becomes evident that violation of human rights not only undermine the dignity of individuals, but also hinders efforts toward global peace and stability. International conventions and agreements have been established to address these issues and ensure that refugees and migrants are treated with dignity and respect. The Refugees 1951 Convention and 1961 Protocol are the cornerstone of the international legal framework for refugee protection. It had included a principle of non-refoulement and principle of non-discrimination for the protection of refugees and asylum seekers as well as migrants. Refugees and migrants continue to be a significant group that faces unique challenges when it comes to the implementation of conventions of human rights. While these conventions are designed to uphold the rights of the women, regardless of their immigration status, refugees and migrants often experience additional barriers that hinder their access to justice and equal opportunities. Discrimination, language barriers, and limited knowledge of their legal rights all contribute to the marginalization of refugee and migrant women. Therefore, it is crucial for democratic societies to not only address the loopholes in convention, but also support in paper on ground the refugees and migrants. The fifth one is the child rights violation. Child rights, as we all know, are the set of fundamental entitlements that every child should enjoy, regardless of their race, gender, or socio-economic background. Child rights are outlined in the United Nations Conventions on the Right of the Child, UNCRC, and include the right to life, education, health care, and protection from violence, abuse, and exploitation. Unfortunately, child rights violations are prevalent in many parts of the world, depriving millions of children of their basic rights. These violations can take various forms such as child labor, child marriage, trafficking, and recruitment into arms groups. Child rights violation is a global issue that requires urgent attention and action. Despite efforts to address right violation, the prevalence of these conventions need to be addressed in coordination with various groups and NGOs. In today's global society, the protection and preservation of human rights are of utmost importance. The United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child and UNCRC provides a comprehensive framework for the protection and promotion of children's rights. By ratifying and implementing these conventions, countries can ensure that children are safeguarded from any form of exploitation, abuse, or neglect. Additionally, education plays a crucial role in empowering children and equipping them with the necessary knowledge and skills to advocate for their rights. There are some key challenges to human rights. From systematic discrimination to political unrest, the violation of human rights take on many forms. These conventions not only affect individuals on personal level but also have far-reaching implications for societies as a whole. Number 7 is human rights issue of artificial intelligence. Challenges to human rights extend beyond terrorism and encompass a new emerging technologies such as artificial intelligence. As AI continues to advance at a rapid pace, it presents both opportunities and risks for the protection of human rights. On one hand, AI has the potential to enhance access to education, healthcare, and other essential services, promoting equality and inclusivity. However, it also raises concern regarding privacy, discrimination, and potential for biased decision making. As AI technology advances at a rapid pace, it raises concerns about the potential infringement of human rights. These rights of AI in decision-making process, such as criminal justice or hiring practices, has the potential to perpetuate some discrimination among the population and exploitation of an individual's right to fairness, equality, and non-discrimination. In order to address the ongoing violation of human rights, it is essential to recognize the key challenges that persist in our society. One of the major obstacles is the prevalence of social equality, which contributes to the marginalization and discrimination of certain groups. Additionally, political repression, censorship, and lack of freedom of speech hinder the realization of human rights in many countries. To overcome these challenges, it is crucial to promote education and awareness among human rights, both at local and global level. It is crucial to establish a social framework that safeguards the fundamental right and freedom of individuals. This framework not only provides a passage through which recognition of the rights can be recognized, but in societies to navigate through the complexities of modern life. But before we come to the conclusion, I would like to revise what we have already discussed in this PPT. Hence, number 1, we have discussed torture and unlawful detention, and the convention related to the torture and unlawful detention was the Article 5 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and Article 7 of the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, 1996. These two conventions ensure that no one is subjected to torture or unlawful detention and is lead to a dignified life. However, we have witnessed that there are many laws in India as well as outside worldwide that seek to bring unlawful detention and legalize such kind of torture, which such laws should be demotivated and discouraged. Number 2 is gender-related discrimination. A violation of women's rights is a pressing that continues to persist in many parts of the world. Basically, we have two conventions related to gender-related discrimination. Number one is Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, that is CEDAW. And the second one is Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action, which calls for the protection of rights of women. Third was the endangered democracy. Endangered democracy means that democracy is threatened in majority of the parts of the world, and there has been brought up the regime of authoritarianism or anarchy, where the people are not free to render their opinions. And we have seen in the history that such rights are not providing a democratic state is also a violation of the rights of a person. So next is refugees, asylum seekers, and migrants. The violation of human rights is a pressing issue that continues to affect many individuals around the world, particularly among refugees and asylum. There are again two conventions. Number one is 1951 Refugee Convention and 1967 Protocol, which are at the cornerstone of the international legal framework for refugee protection. And these two conventions ensure that a refugee who is not safe in his own country should not be sent again to that country, which is called principle of non-refoulement. And again, they must not be discriminated. That is principle of non-discrimination. Fifth, we talked about child rights violation. Child rights are set of fundamental entitlements, and there is one convention that talks about the protection of child rights, that is United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child, that is UNCRC, and include the right to life, education, health care, and protection from violence, such as the child labor, child marriage, trafficking, and recruitment into armed groups. Child rights violation is a global issue that continues and requires an urgent attention and action. And we have seen that but it continues that there are some key challenges to human rights. From systematic discrimination to political unrest, the violation of human rights take place in many forms. These challenges are not only affect individuals on a personal level, but also have far-reaching implications for society as a whole. Then we talked about human rights issue of artificial intelligence, how we've discussed how AI has been a boon to the technological advances. As AI technology advances at a rapid pace, it raises concern about potential infringement of human rights. Human rights are infringed by AI as AI deals in the individual right to fairness, equality, and privacy. Now, coming to the conclusion part, I would state that by examining the identified obstacles hindering the effective implementation of human rights and social justice measures, these rights provide valuable insights into the challenges faced by societies worldwide. It offers a foundation for developing evidence-based strategies to overcome these obstacles, ultimately promoting a more just and equitable world. By understanding and acknowledging these barriers, we can work towards creating a more inclusive and equitable society. Education and awareness raising efforts are also crucial in addressing obstacles to the implementation of human rights and social justice measures. This includes promoting human rights education in schools, universities, communities, campaigns, and public discussions. Also, there needs to be a change in individual attitudes and behavior. Furthermore, adequate resources and funding must be allocated to support the implementation of human rights and social justice measures. These include investing in infrastructure, training programs, legal aid services, and support systems for marginalized groups. Governments must demonstrate a genuine commitment to upholding human rights standards and ensuring social justice for all. This involves enacting and enforcing laws that protect human rights, promoting inclusive policies, and holding accountable those who violate these principles. Further, I would also mention the references from which I have made this PPT. I have referred to a book by Rebecca Cook, The naming Human Rights of Women, National and International Perspective, University of Pennsylvania Press, Philadelphia, 1994. Again, I have referred to Matthew Craven. Topic, the book name, International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, a Perspective on its Development, and in the paperback edition, Oxford publication, 1998. Then I referred Dina Shelton, Remedies in International Human Rights Law. Respectively, I have also referred few online links and online data along with some resource paper for bringing this knowledgeable content to the students of IIMT as well as to the public at large. By this PPT, I hope it has been made clear that how human rights are so crucial for human individual and how these rights need to be maintained for the protection and giving dignified life to every individual. Human rights are a very common topic. Still, there have been numerous conventions, numerous papers, research papers, data, but still, despite of all these things, we as humans have failed to implement human rights of every individual, and in some or the other way, we tend to hurt the human rights or tend to violate the human rights of every individual. Further, I would also state that each and every individual must try, along with the nations and the societies, that human rights are protected equally and every individual is given a chance to have a dignified life with all the necessary necessities that he may have for his livelihood. Hence, it is crucial to give equal importance to human rights and not only comply with the human rights on papers, but there needs to be an action in general. Thank you. I, Saloni Tomar, on behalf of IIMT College of Law, would like to acknowledge that all the content in the PPT has been made by me and has been shared for the students of IIMT as well as to the public at large. I hope this PPT is useful for everyone who is interested in international law and who seeks to protect human rights as a good individual.